and we'll see if it's working, the recording, and we will share everything. All the conversation will be shared with everyone. Um, so the main reason why we do this meeting, well, first I would like to say that this meeting will be technical. So I don't know who is joining us, who is here now. And I don't want to waste some people time because I know that the last meeting was also technical and I was not clear enough that it will be technical. So choose if you want to be with us or not because it will be technical. Um, so I will start the first, I want to start like the first 20 minutes or so, understanding if anyone has some, I know people has questions regarding the way that we should, that we're now working with Zapp. So I would like to hear the question, start with a question. After I will do a brief of how we supposed to do it and how we intend, what was the intention of this and how we want to work. And the last part of the conversation will be some working guidelines that it's important to everyone, but to developers, but it's important to everyone. But the people that I want to make sure that are staying with us are the Android developers. So, few things. First, I deployed a week ago, I think, the new way to create a version in Zapp, and the fact that a modular version is now locked, and you cannot change anything unless you decide that the modular version is under development. Once you decide that the version is done and sealed and it has a version number, I'm basically locking everything in order not to be surprised of new features or regressions or stuff like that when you create a new version of an app using a specific modular version. So I heard I know some people gave me feedback, and I added some new features that will, according to people feedback. Alisa is here. I don't think so, but she was the one that gave me some feedback, and I deployed some changes according to her good feedback. So as I say, we are now in these weeks. We are learning and we will do some iteration upon this change. So feel free to give your comments that are related to these things, and that's it. I want to start listening to if you guys have any questions related to the new flow, to the new process. And I'm sure that you will ask questions that will give me like a הרמה להנחתה for me to answer some things that I would like to present today. So I prefer to start with some questioning. So whomever want to start, because I know you have. So go
How do
ahead.
you how do you decide when the version is open and when it's closed and when we can add some changes to the version?
Okay, so basically, when you start working on a feature, the feature is under development. Once you decide, okay, so we decide two things. Basically, we will have our weekly deployment, which will take part every Tuesday. We will start, I think, next Tuesday, not this because we are not ready yet. So everything that is approved, tested, automatic tested, auto tested, and maybe manually some of the time, and approved in the development branch will be merged into the production branch and will consider deployed. Currently, we did not start with this process because I'm letting the wheels rolling a little bit. But next week on Tuesday we will deploy this. This will be our weekly deployment. And if you need extra deployment, you are more than welcome. I will introduce a new tool that I created for deployment once the question will be finished, and I will show you what will be the process of deployment. But basically, the scope that is, and you need to think about it as continuous process. So everything that you merge to the development branch, doesn't matter the name of the branch according to the platform, TV, iOS, Android. Once you it was approved and merged to your development branch, like done, then it is possibly to be deployed in the next deployment or before if you decide to deploy it before. So, answering your question,
Okay, but if I want to add
can you, אתה
last
יכול להתקדם קצת קריטי, אני לא שומע.
last week, I tried to add some strings to the Zapp SDK.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it was locked.
Yeah.
So I still didn't merge my branch to the dev, but I want to test it. How
Okay.
can I do?
So related to this, changing the metadata of the SDK in Zapp is considered developing something because, for example, if you will delete something, right, it might break something else. If you will change a default value, it will affect all the apps that are using this specific SDK as a default value. So we decided that it is not wanted, these things, so we lock. So if you want to work on if you want to develop, it has two, let's call it two sides. When you create a new SDK that is under development, you can either, basically what you are able to do is editing in Zapp, editing it in the Zapp CMS, meaning that you can change one of the factors or one of the properties of an SDK, of a modular version, is is the tag that it is pointing to in the code, right? So this is one thing that you are able to change. You can continue and developing your stuff and using the latest code. This is one. The other part of it will be to change any styling, any assets, or any text. So if you want to change stuff, you need to work on under development SDK, even if it's not code changing, even if it's string changes or text changes, styling, any general changes in the SDK. I don't know, adding languages or whatever to an SDK. So if you want to do this, you will need to create a new SDK version. And if you're adding a new text, it means that you also change the code for sure. It means that you need to change the version because something changed. So I hope this answers your question.
Okay.
I will talk about how we make. Well, I generally explained how we will deploy it, the new changes. I will show exactly how we will technically, physically will do it soon. But basically, you guys are, we working on under development branch, and we can under development version, and we can change it and change and do whatever we want until we decide that the version is done, that we want to release it. What we'll decide that we want to release that the feature are tested, and everything that is tested should be merged to the development branch. Okay. Another thing that I would like to talk about that I know that we have some problems. This is something that is general flow process. Is what do we do with hotfix? For example, we have a bug now in production, and we have a if I'm talking too fast and something is unclear, please stop me because I really want that after we finish this conversation, everything will be clear. So don't
Okay,
don't
so
don't be shy to stop me.
I want to ask something. So if I'm now working about, I'm working on a feature that require. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Require some changes. Okay.
Again.
So
You're working on a feature that.
that requires some changes in Zapp platform,
Okay.
for example, localization.
Changes, you mean changes of the features that are already existing on the sequence, right?
No, no, I mean a feature that depends on the Zapp platform.
Okay.
So what should I do? I mean, should I create a new version in Zapp, which its uh, SDK version is, I don't know, some temp value or something like that?
Okay, so basically, there will need to be some coordination between us developers. Okay, I did not build GitHub. I did not build a system, and I didn't want to build a system that will control multiple working flows on a specific SDK or something like that. So there will
Mhm.
need to be some kind of coordination. So as I see the thing, the way we should work, the system allows you to work differently, but as I see the thing that should be worked on, you should always have the stable version, which is something that is locked and you know that is working, and project manager or whomever want to use to build a demo or a version or whatever knows that he has a version that no one can change. Okay, so this is the stable version. This version cannot be changed and it is locked. Also, for development purposes, we should have something that we can call like the next release. Okay, so we know that everybody is working on the next release. Okay, and we know that on the next release we can change things and we can add features, which means add styles, color, changing stuff, changing defaults, changing the pointer to the code, whatever you want to do. Once we reach the Tuesday, you know that everything that is there will be locked and will be the next stable version because it should be tested. Okay. If you want in the middle to release an earlier version that is using some of the features that are related to this development, do it. No problem. This is one thing. Are we clear?
So the log thing will be automatically.
The lock thing will be once we decide that we deploy, the version will
Mhm.
be locked. So basically, it will be a manual work of a person to decide I want to deploy it now. Okay, so then it will be, and also it will happen. We are not stable enough to do it automatic. We're not stable enough to say, okay, I'm doing some kind of scheduling work, and every Tuesday an automatic process is running and deploying. We are not there yet, unfortunately. I wish we were there. So the initializing of the deployment to production will be manual. All the process of what it will do will be automatic, and I will show it later. So this is one thing. So, this is
I
really, yeah.
about problems in this flow. Let's say that I'm working on something and Elad is working on something, uh, and I finished it and I pushed it to dev, okay,
Mhm.
and Elad didn't. But he did change the localization and assets in Zap. So his changes will be included in the next release, and it shouldn't.
Okay, so I
This is
will explain. I agree that the system allows you to do this kind of thing, but the way the process should be, if you're adding some kind of value or something,
Mhm.
you should add it first in the code, and both platforms are able to test everything locally. I know and on Android for sure because I created the tool. On an iOS, I also know that they have their Zapp tool that you are able to test everything locally. So before you do any changes, if you want to test your code, the process should be I'm writing the code, I'm checking it locally. Okay, I'm doing some automatic testing. Once I know that it is done, then it's done. And I said again, everything should be coordinated. The same question could be asked on a different from a different angle. how we know that if I'm pushing a new code, okay, for example, Elad is working pushing something and it's on dev, and you want to push something, right? Because you're working on a different feature, and suddenly you think, oh, I cannot push because Elad already worked on it, right? So there
Yeah,
need to be some kind of coordination. So you
the,
guys
dif-
coordinate.
the difference is that I can work on a certain branch and the lad can work on another one, and in Zapp I can't. I mean,
We need
I
to do
don't
it.
think it's smart to that everyone will make its own version,
You can
Can,
do
you
it.
can
know?
I,
You can do it, but before you deploy, you can do it. No problem. You can open as many in development SDKs as you wish.
No, but if okay, so if a lad finishes before I do, and we set his version as the stable and release one, you know,
Hmm.
and I opened mine before, mine will not include his changes.
But this is a general process of development. When you work on a feature, you need to always make sure that the development branch is rebased to you or merged
No,
to you
I'm not
in
talking
your
about
local.
branch, talking about the Zap localization assets and stuff.
Ran, maybe I have Gil, tell me if I'm correct, but the question is, when do you put, let's say you are working on a development SDK in Zap, you created a new SDK. You added, when are you, is the time to add a new key? Before you merge to development or after?
The optimal time will be after. If you can test it locally and make sure that it's done, the optimal time is after. But I'm not sure that it's 100% possible because there will be, I don't know, it depends. If look, everything is together. Once you do an automatic testing, when you write unit test or whatever thing, if you tested the code and you're not really waiting for some manual testing of someone else, then you are able to merge it to dev, and once it's merged to the development branch, you can add the key. But again, I'm not, unfortunately it's not the correct process, so there need to be a coordination between the developers. You need to talk between yourself and understand. I added, one second, when you now create an SDK, there is a Slack notification that tells you that a new SDK was created. Doesn't matter if it's a development or not development. It's I think, I'm not sure that it's also in development, but I will, if not, I will add it. In the Zapp support channel, when you create, Zapp product updates channel, if you create now a new SDK, you get a notification with the platform, the SDK version that was created. So be aware, listen to this channel, and look, this is something that is automatic that I can do, but you need to be coordinated. You need to have some kind of coordination. This is related to this. Another thing that I wanted to say, that what we do now, for example, if we need to do a hot fix on production, and we don't want to have all the development things inside. So anyway, you will need to create some kind of in development
Branch.
SDK in Zapp. But it's important. I'm answering this question. It's supposed to be obvious, but I heard some people that want to not sure what the process should be, so I'm saying it. If you know it, perfect. Uh, if you need to fix something on production, you should work on the production branch, not on the development branch, and you should deploy everything directly to the production branch. Make sure that once you do it, you also taking this change into the development branch. So we don't have production code and development code diverged. The production code should always be behind the development code. This is the correct situation. Once you deploy something to production directly, and it will happen, and it happened, but if you find bug in production and now there is a huge change in development, we don't want to take it, make sure that you're adding your change into the development branch as well. Okay? Cool. More questions?
Run, when we're using Circle, okay, we send the release, right? A release branch.
Sorry, on Circle?
When we use a Circle, so when you send to Circle a command to build something, we use a release branch.
Yeah.
And after this, we check what tag we want and other stuff. So, so Circle YAML take from release branch, the latest one. Do we have ability to send to Circle not release branch, for example, master branch or some another debug branch? For example, if I need to check Circle YAML, if it's worked properly with new changes, don't to stack the main process for other people.
You're talking now a bit of building versions, right?
Yes.
No, so
let's say
let's take it offline because I'm not. It's something else. You want to test working brand a different behavior of your application code, right? If I understand correctly.
I want to use different Circle. For example, I have a debug branch or development branch, and I'm changing some Circle YAML inside. Yeah. So at that moment, I need to merge this Circle to release, and it will take effect for every person who will try to build on iOS. And I want to send, let's say, from another branch. Don't stack release process, just to test it on another branch.
Okay. Let's take it offline. I need to understand what is the why do you need it and you cannot test it locally. But for me to understand it later, again, if something is needed, we will make it happen. But I need to understand with you a little bit deeper what exactly do you mean and why you cannot test it locally, like before you deploy. Why you need to change the system in order for you to check your deployment process. But let's take it after, and you and me, okay, and we'll talk about it.
Okay.
And I try to give you the answers, and if any kind of feature is needed, we will add it.
Cool.
Okay, project managers in the crowd or someone that built an app in the crowd. Did you work with the new process? Did you have any kind of issues that you want to ask about? Do you have some kind of unclarity about anything? Okay, everything is clear. Cool. Don't be shy.
Hi. Can you hear me? Hi.
לא ממש. אני רואה רק, מרוחק.
About the critical bug issue, but we've talked about it already. If we have a hot fix, if we have a hot fix.
Can you go closer to the microphone? Because I barely hear.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I think we close this issue, but if we have a hot fix that we have to do for critical bug for a customer, so even though the version is closed, you say that we can
create a new Zapp
branch?
Not branch, Zapp version.
No. Okay, I will explain again. I will explain again. A version that is closed is closed. Doesn't matter if it's hotfix, if it's a new feature, whatever. If you have a version that is closed, you know what is the scope of the version. You cannot change it. If you have a hotfix, you will create a new version because you have to, because it's something different. You change the code, it's a completely different thing. It could even be a breaking change that nothing will work with it anymore. So you need to create a new version. The only thing that is important to understand is the flow of the development, is that the developer should not wait for something that is under development now. He should work directly on the production code. Okay, create a new version with the tool that I will show. You will need to create a new version under development, but the base code will be the production code and not the development code. So then,
Closed version, you mean?
But we need to wait to the.
You mean the base code will be the closed version,
yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. The base
Then you will
code will
edit
be
code, and then you will create kind of it's not patch, but until you will migrate it to the main code, it will be
yeah,
the code of the version.
yeah,
But you
yeah. For example, if let's say that tomorrow there is a bug in Reshet, whatever, okay? You found that there is a bug on Reshet. The developer should work on the production code. Okay, you should create a new version, of course, in Zapp that is called under development, but the code that you should work on should be out of the production branch, not of the development. Once it's tested, you're done, you know that you want a version. You don't want to wait for the next release. You don't want to have the new things that are fixed because you don't know what there is inside. You don't want it. You just create a new version out of the latest code that you know that is stable, and that's it. And you have the stable code plus the fix. Okay, this should be
a new release of the
yeah.
It is.
SDK.
It is. Can I?
Zapp. It's new release. Zapp.
It's a new release in Zapp, of course. It's a new release of the app. Yeah.
Okay.
Can I say something on?
Better.
We need to wait. If we have a hot fix, we don't need to wait to Thursday.
No. By the way, you don't need to wait for Tuesday also if you don't have a hotfix. If you want to deploy, you can deploy. I'm just saying that be aware that on every Tuesday you will get everything that is in development branch. Important to understand what is in development branch could be in your mindset could be deployed every day. So you need to make sure that you deployed something good on the development branch.
I want to say a few things about how why I think this change is important, and it seems like you are now creating a new version that you didn't have to before, but it's not the case. The case prior to this change was that you created a new build. Because you created, if you fix something, you created a new build, but you overwrite an existing one. So instead of having like a record of what are the change, you have two builds that are different but with the same name, and you still had to create a new build for your app and release it to the store. Anyways, even in the old scenario. The change is that everything is documented. If you change something in the code, it should be registered as a new build. This is the. Do I make this?
I understand, but now, okay. So let's say I did it. Okay, I created a new version with a hotfix plus the less closed version. Okay, and then. And now Tuesday arrived, and then you deploy the new closed version.
Okay. The person that creates the hotfix, like Ron said, has to apply all the changes that he did also to the development branch.
And who's responsible to see that everything is going well together before you deploy?
Basically, if you let's say the way you do it is if you have a hotfix, there are two branches: the master one, the one that everyone gets, and the development one. When you want to create a hotfix, you create a branch from the master, and you do a pull request back to the master. Okay? let's say you didn't you didn't do what you have to do and change the development and add this change also to the development feature.
When you fix about
when you want
send it to the production.
What?
In hotfix, it's
Yes, production. I'm saying
production.
master is production. I'm saying production and development. Okay. When you want to create a hotfix, you branch from the production and you give back to the production. Let's say you didn't do what you have to do and change the development. You didn't add these features. When you try to merge your changes to production from development, you will say, I can't because your branch is not is diverged, and this is another like a way to make sure that you are not.
But it doesn't
you don't
mean
have a
anything
regression.
because even if it allows you to merge the code, it still doesn't mean that it will work good. That
No.
you don't have regression with the hotfix from other developers. You know what I mean? And
You can say it everywhere on every change you are doing in development. Every time you do a change in development,
yeah,
you
I
can
know, but
affect
until now, there was always, or they tried to have a stable version, right?
in terms of manual testing.
Yes. But now, if you deploy every week, I don't think it will be that stable because they will not do the manual testing every week, right?
Adi, נכון? I will explain. This is like the other part of the conversation that I want to talk about. We have currently, I think, one person that is doing manual testing in the company, right? A part of all the people that are taking part of manually testing, but as a position. So we understand that it doesn't scale. We understand it. We understand that it doesn't scale. So, as part of the process, and this is very important that you are there and the other project managers and whomever is there. A code that is not automatic tested is not merged into the development branch. It's supposed to be clear and it's supposed to be obvious to the people that are development. We don't have any manual work. You cannot just shager veshkach code and you don't know if it causes regression or whatever. You need to be, as a developer, responsible enough to understand that what you create can cause a regression. How we can minimize the regressions? We minimize regressions by creating automated testing. So if you create a new code and you completely testing it, you are basically preventing 90, let's say 95% of the option for your new code to be, I don't know how to say it in English, but to create regression in the future for your code. And this is important. This is something that I want to talk with the developer only, but this is something that you need like to give hand to as the one that is facing the customer and has the pressure. There is, because we did not do it till now, there is 99% of the code that is not tested. But I know that everything that I'm enforcing in terms of code is tested. Every new code that is entering into the system that I'm reviewing, but I'm a lonely person in this world. I cannot enforce everything. So I ask you, I beg you, I don't know, it should be something that you as a territory manager, project manager, whomever is related to the process need to understand the importance of it. You are now have zero trust in the product, and it's okay, or not zero, doesn't matter. You have a lack of trust in the product, which is fine, and I understand you. I also have some or a lot of a lack of trust in the product. Why? Because once someone changes somewhere, we don't know how it will affect the other places. In order to reduce these regressions, we need to add automatic testing. It's super important. I'm sounding like I'm a preacher, but it is very important. You have to do it, and it's not something that is like, okay, oh, what a shame, we need to do it. It's a must. I'm not talking about all the benefits in terms of code wise. I'm talking about only regressions in this meeting. So if you want to make sure that your code has no regression, auto test it. You cannot scale with one person that is doing manual testing.
Okay, and I want to add
We
something.
can speak in Hebrew, by the way. I think
No.
Francois is
No,
not
it's
the
recorded.
Oh,
It's recorded. I hope. I pressed the record button. I hope it's recording.
And I'm here, by the way.
הסיכוי שמישהו ישמע את זה אחר כך.
Francois is here. I don't understand.
Okay, but I want to add something. Not everything can be automatic testing, right?
Everything.
You have something
Everything. 100% of the code can be automatic testing. It depends on how much effort a developer wants to put and how much freedom you as a territory manager can have. Today, in the new tools, in both platforms, you can test everything. You don't need to. The only thing that you cannot test is something that the eye should see, like let's call it the product test. That this.
That's what I mean, like sync button, okay? Like sync button. Something that you have to define sync button.
Something you need to configure in the CMS, sync button, feed, analytics, all those things.
That happens, as a result of some user action, yeah.
It could be tested.
No, action is okay. I mean, but
it could be tested easily. And of course, by the way, I'm not the one that would preach that do only automatic tests and launch to the store. I'm not saying. Someone need to do some kind of sanity testing. But instead of sitting 2 hours and pressing buttons, you need to have some kind of trust. And of course, you need to do some sanity tests before you upload to the store. This for sure. We are not there. I don't think we will ever be there that you can upload automatic and not even look at what you're doing. As long as
but
we are not.
also a developer before or after deploying a code, if you think it has the smallest chance that it can affect some actions or some features or some product like the feed or the how do you call the page that
Takeover.
the takeover product. If you think that it can affect one of the product or one of the features, it should tell us. It should tell the product managers, because then we know that we have to check it again. Even if we didn't do any, we as a territory, we didn't do any deployment of new code, but like we know that our customers are always using the takeover feature, okay? Mm-hmm. And then some developer in another territory write some code that can affect maybe this feature. So we need to know it in order to make the manual test.
Okay.
And we don't know this today.
I have half an answer for you. Okay. 2 things. First, as a thumb rule, I think that if a developer is opening a code, even if you need to do a change, I would expect to write a test for the code that was open, even if it's not in the scope of the class. So for example, if I know that I did a change, I'm in the territory X, and I know that I changed something in the takeover, even if it's analytics, also analytics can be tested, automatic, okay? You don't need to go to the dashboard to see that the analytics is there. Okay, you maybe need to do it in some general stuff, but you can test in your code that the analytic event is sent. Okay, this you can do. And
yeah, but it's not enough.
Nothing is not, of course it's not enough, but it's better than nothing. Okay, let's start with this. Okay, the other thing is, if you do any change of a code, be mature enough to add automatic testing. It will solve a lot of things. This is one part. The second part is, once you create a new version with a new tool of deployment, I'm generating a change log. Okay? So if you will go to the Zapp system, by the way, it will be sent to the Slack channel as well. I will add it. It will have a link. But basically, a change log is a file, text file, that will explain the changes between versions. So it will be written version 3.0, bug fix this, new feature this, blah, blah, this, okay? In the Zapp system, you have a link. It's already available. It was not the iOS people did not deploy a new version that is generating the changelog, but in the tool that I will introduce now, it generates automatic changelog, and you as a project manager, territory manager, whatever you want. You can go to the system to a specific version. You can press on the link, and you will have the change log, and then you will be able to see what is the change between your version and the last one. Okay, so this could give you some kind of a hint about what could be affected and what could be manual test. I'm not saying to remove all the talking and the generally speaking between the people. You have to have it. Like we are confronting we solve a lot of issues with moving to the new structure of the company that is very distributed, but we introduce some new ones. The new ones is that we are distributed developers. We are not consolidated in one team. So there need to be some kind of conversation between the people. It has to be. I cannot solve this. If you do something and you know that it might affect something else, or there is someone that is doing your code review and he thinks that it could affect something else, please raise a flag. Don't let it pass. Okay, it's important. I cannot. There need to be some kind of conversation between the people. Some kind of the minimal. Okay, we're trying to do everything automatic, but there need to be some kind of conversation between the people. Now in the code, two people always are looking. Minimum two people are looking in your code. One of them should raise the flag because there is the developer and the one that is the reviewer. So one of these people needs to raise a flag. If you see that, I don't know, there is a change in a core feature. For example, we know that we did a change now in the infrastructure, in the networking. It's not deployed yet, but it's there. It will be deployed soon. We understand that it might affect everything in the app. So you need to raise a flag. We need to understand it. If you know that you change something that is related to updating a version or updating Xcode or whatever, and you know that it might affect a specific feature, raise the flag, make it. I think that it happens, maybe not 100% of the time, so I'm trying to emphasize it. I think that's it. Like you will not have trust in the product from today from 0 to 100. This is obvious, but we're trying to create a process that it will be easier to detect regressions. Okay, so guys, do auto testing. Stop with look, either you're trusting someone else or you really love your code that you write now and you want to fix bugs in it again and again. I don't think that this is the situation, so I think it's important enough to do it. With your guys' permission, because I have only 15 minutes, I would like to show you the way that we want to deploy uh, the new code. So the people that are not really developers could stay, of course. I'm not sure it's for your interest, but
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
one more thing before everybody is leaving. If you have questions, don't wait for this kind of sessions. Ask me directly or anyone else, but you can ask me
Okay.
all. Okay?
Okay.
תודה.
אוקיי. דווקא קריטי הלך, אני חושב שהוא צריך...
זה יכול להיות.
הוא פה.
אוקיי, so...
קצת גת והוא חזרה.
זה קשור לרן?
אביגל.
I would like to... okay, so currently...
Ran, we do have a question.
כן.
We're not sure it's related or not related, so I'll ask. We have a couple of apps that we need to release new versions.
What?
We have a couple of apps that are not in the Zapp, old apps, Modular old apps. We need to release new versions for them, but it doesn't make sense to put them in Zapp right now, because we're probably going to give them completely new apps.
What is the question? What do you want me to say?
That is what
You have a
think?
system. You have a system that is
Okay.
using the base code and a templates. ככה in generally explanation. Use it or not use it. If you will not use it, you need to understand that you will maintain manually your code. You will not get maybe new updates, whatever. I don't know. If you need to add, if you are missing some kind of features to add it to the system, talk to me. Let's see what is missing. I'm not sure that it's the situation, but I can only control what I can control. We allow you to do whatever you want, so as a territory, be aware that you need to maintain it manually. I don't know. Everything that I'm talking about is related to the system. Everything that it will be a different project outside of the system, I cannot control. You can ask me questions if you want. I will answer gladly, but I don't know if I could.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. Okay, so I would like to introduce a new tool. And this new tool is very. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we see it.
Okay, cool. The web, the browser?
Yeah.
Drogon!
Okay, so I created a new tool that will automate our testing.
Just
Okay, I
make
will
sure
start
you
the flow.
record right now the tutorial
What?
because I'm driving. I can't see. Just make sure you record the tutorial that you display now.
I'm recording, but everything is recorded, but it's hard for me to, להתחשב בכל מיני מצבים מוזרים של פיזיקליים. אז אני אמשיך כרגיל, המסר מוגדר, אם יהיה לך שאלות אחרי זה, אז I will gladly answer.
תודה.
Okay, so basically, currently, now, you cannot create a version that will allow you to release apps to the store. As I said, if you're using, I mean a new modular version. יש פה מישהו שצריך את האנגלית שלי, או שאני יכול לעבור לעברית?
ככה, אני פה, אבל אתה יכול.
English.
אבל אתה צריך לשאול את השאלה הזאת
אבל אם
באנגלית.
זה recorded, if it's recorded, it's better that it stays in English for everybody else.
Okay, it will be English. So I will start. First, we are on a process to move all our builds to Circle CI. I hope that on iOS it's the same. It should be. We are encountering many problems with Jenkins that is related to physical situations like electrical outages and stuff like that. There are benefits of using Jenkins, but the cons are bigger than the pros of using Jenkins. So it's better for us to move to Circle, that it's something that we don't need to maintain and will be up 99% of the time. They have an SLA, so they need to do it. So if you're not there already, on Android, we're in the process of moving it. It's the continuous deployment system. iOS, I know that some of it is there. So this is like general speaking. Okay, so currently, okay, let me go to Zapp 1 second. Tell me if you're losing my screen because it's important. Let me close this. Okay. So under the SDK section, if you want to create a new version of SDK, you need to create a new SDK version. Once you create it, you cannot give it a version number. You can only title it. Once you gave it a title, whatever, you based it on another SDK, blah, 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 whatever. Basically, you can start playing with it. Okay, so you can change the code reference. You can change the screen sizes that it uses. You can change the styles, the assets, whatever you want. You can add new keys, not add new keys, whatever you want. But you currently cannot. Let's say that you decide that this Jelly Jam test is something that you want to release. Okay? You're not able to create something that is releasable. Okay? From the system. It is blocked. In order to do so, you will need to use this tool. This tool, and I will start with what it does because nothing is a secret and it's important enough to understand. When you want to deploy a new SDK version, so you decided that everything that is merged into development needs to be deployed. Okay? Not only development. Okay, if you decide that you want to deploy hotfix, doesn't matter. But if you decided something needs to go to production, you need to use this tool. I will follow that. I will do some kind of tutorial after. I want to explain what this tool does because it shouldn't be secret and it should be very straightforward. It's just doing some kind of automation of the stuff. In this tool currently, you need to announce a version number, which is very sad. And it in the future, you will not need to announce it. It will be automatically generated from your commits. But currently, you need to decide on a version number. And please follow the Semver rules. Semver rules means that the first number is if you had some breaking change of the code. The second number mean if you did some major change or a new feature. And the last one is the patch if you did some bug fixes. So each version should be consisted of out of 3 numbers. So follow this. Once you decide what
bug fixes without breaking change.
Sorry?
Bug fixes without breaking change.
Yeah, of course. Sorry. Breaking change is the biggest number. So if you have version 3.0, 3.1.2, for example, 3 will be that we broke something from version 2. The second version is we added a new feature, and the third one will be some bug fixes that did not break anything. I don't know. Like now, analytics were not sending, and now I'm adding the sending of new analytics, for example. So after you announce the version number, what is happening is that we create a new tag, we generate a new changelog out according to your commits and pull requests. So it automatically do some kind of parsing to the pull request and issues and change and commits, and it generates a changelog. I will show it now. It commit and pushes the changelog to the development branch. It will merge this latest code plus the changelog into your production branch, and it will create a new SDK version on Zapp, on the CMS. So if I will run, for example, deploy version v.2.8, okay, it will generate here a row or a new record that will say 2. For example, let's take this one. Once it will be created, a tag will be in GitHub. It should initiate the automatic process of Circle CI, Jenkins, whatever, which means that for Android, it will create a new version on Bindtray. And for iOS, it will, I don't know, push the latest tag to GitHub or something like that, according to what your currently the process is. Nothing changed. And you will have the ability to apply this version on a development version. So for example, if I created here version 3.0.1 using this tool, and I know that all the changes will be related to this version 3.1.0 that is development, I will do apply on debug version, I will choose the version and I will do apply, and then you will have a lock version with this version number using everything that you configured in the development and the latest code according to the tag that you create. Now question, because I'm sure that I was not clear, I'm not sure that I understand what I said. So
from where are you, if you open your terminal,
yeah,
and what you need to be in a specific branch to do it?
Yeah, okay. So 2 things. First, you need to be in the repository. You cannot, because I'm using git command and the git users. So maybe I will, it's a good question. I will explain what should be the flow. Okay? Gavri.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it works like this. Now I developed, okay, I finished development, I finished push the code to development. What I usually will do now is I will go to the master or to production branch, master release, whatever. I will go to my production branch and I will pull the latest code of the development branch to the production, right? This would be the flow. Once this will be done, I will push it to master. Okay? This is the regular flow that you guys are doing. What now you will need to do, you will need to be in your dev branch, and the tool will not allow you, if you're not there, will not allow you to push anything. You will run you need to do some setup before, so you will run the command Drogon setup. It will do you some kind of tutorial asking you to put some one-time settings, because I'm pushing stuff to Zapp, so I need some Zapp token that could be generated in Applicaster account system. We'll show it now, okay? If you go to your user under the accounts.applicaster.com, in your user, נראה לי run is not good enough. So inside your user, you can generate yourself a, if it will work. Yeah. So you can generate yourself an access token. You press on add, you put your whatever Zapp token, and you will generate yourself a new token. Once you generate a new token, you can press on the I and you can copy paste the token. Make sure that it's one line. I have problem when I'm copying from here to my terminal that it asks weird question. So make sure that everything appears as a one line with no white spaces or anything. So this is the place you generate yourself a token. This is one thing you will need. You will also need a GitHub token because I'm pushing code to GitHub. So inside GitHub, either you can ask me to give me you a token. Better you ask me, okay? Because I'm not sure about permission that people has. So if you need the GitHub token, I will generate one for you and will give it to you. Once you run the command, okay, maybe I show it to you. Can you see my terminal?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can read the README there. You need to do some installation process, but it should be straightforward. Once I will run Drogon setup, it will ask me for my Zapp token, and it saves the default one. And it will ask me my GitHub token, and it's a one-time setup. Once I've did it, I'm done. I have my setup ready. Now I would like to deploy. So let's imagine that I'm on the branch that is relevant for my repository. iOS, it's the iOS, Zapp iOS, whatever repository. Android is the Android generic app repository. tvOS is tvOS something repository. I don't remember. And first you have a help. This was not what I wanted to do. You have a help so you can see the commands that you have. And once you do, for example, a command and help, it will show you everything that you can put as an option, as an argument. But let's say that I decided to push. Now I'm on development branch. I want to merge my code to production. Okay. So what I will do is Drogon fly, and let's say that my version is I don't know 3.3. Okay. Important developers. You need to make sure that your repository is clean, that it doesn't that your current status is clean, that you don't have any unused tags or stuff like that. The tool is hopefully is preventing from you to do most mistakes, but make sure that you're clean in your current, and you know that your current dev branch is something that you would like to deploy, that you don't have any extra commits or stuff like that. So once I will do this, it will tell me, of course, are you sure, because it's irreversible, blah, blah, blah. And then you need to type yes. And it will start the initiation of the process. Now it tells me you cannot because you're trying to push from the wrong repo. But imagine that I'm on the right repo. It will initiate the process. And what is the process? Again, it will create a new tag using the tag that you wrote. Like, it will create tag now in this flow. It will create tag 3.3. It will generate a change log. Okay, and I will show you the change log, for example, because we've done it on Android. So it will generate a change log that would look like this. Okay, you see the version number, and you see the merge pull request and you see the commits. Important. Make sure that you write. I lost the people in the office? No. Okay.
No, here.
Make sure that you write something that is readable. Okay? So if it's a fix, say a fix. If it's a new feature, say new feature. If it's a breaking change, write breaking change. So it generates a change log. It will merge the latest code from dev to master. So you need to make sure that the master and the dev are not diverged. If they are diverged, it will not allow you to do that. And it will create a new version on Zapp CMS. That's all.
Run question.
Yeah.
It will merge or it will rebase? What it will do?
Rebase.
Rebase. So dev and master will be on same state.
Same state. No merge. Only rebase. By the way, this is I wanted to. I'm already ahead of my time. I would like to continue like another 20 minutes if you guys don't have anything important, because I want to talk also about some best practices as I see it. It's not maybe it's also some best practices in other places in the world, but best practices as I see it. So yeah, it will rebase. Use rebase. General guideline: use rebase. Merge, add some weird, strange commits that we don't want. It might cause us divergence between branches. So try to use rebase. But this process is doing rebase. After this, you have branches that will be the same. Okay, not ahead, not behind. After this process.
This process create a version in Zapp CMS, yeah?
לא שומע?
This version create a new version on Zapp.
Yeah, but after it creates a new version, after it creates a version on Zapp, you will need to connect this new created version to your development version. Okay, it will appear here with apply on debug version. You will need to press on it and choose your debug version.
Okay. And then it will be locked.
And then it will be locked. The thing.
If I want to add more than one version, like if I'm working on one version and Gil working on another version.
Do whatever you want. Once you decide you deploy. It's a regular, instead of just taking the dev into master, there is a process that is doing some overhead on top of your merge, creating changelog, creating new version in Zapp, but in the end, it's only taking dev and putting it on master.
So if I'm looking on the apply on debug version, and you press on it, you can add the jelly gym test in development. Okay.
What?
If I have now two versions, not only in development.
You will have here two, and you will need to choose.
I cannot add the both of them.
No, it's not GitHub. This is what I explained. This is why there needs to be some kind of coordination. It's not GitHub, because basically what it does behind the scenes, it's only putting a tag. Like the SDK that is on Zapp that it will be in use is this one, the one in development. It only puts a tag on it, a version number, and it locks it. This is the only thing that is doing this apply on debug. It's not doing anything behind the scenes. It's only taking your in development version, putting it a version number, and locking it. Important thing to understand. Once you lock it, this is your tag. This is the parameter that will be sent, the version number. Sorry. This is the parameter that will be sent to the build when you create a new app. This version number. So make sure that your process on Android, for sure, we need to do some changes. And on iOS, I'm not sure. But make sure that the thing that initiates the automatic upload of the library to Bindtray on Android and to GitHub on iOS, that it uses this tag as the file name. Okay? Important.
Ran, can you go back? Can you go back?
Yeah.
To the. What? Why is there any reason why I need to manually press apply on debug version? Why it's not happening automatically?
If you have, for example, two in development versions, to which one should I connect it?
It doesn't create a new version here. It just allows you to add to one of the development already existing development SDKs here the existing tag.
Yeah, this is the only thing it
Okay.
does. It allows you to say, okay, my version now is locked, and it uses the code that I know that I want it to be inside. Otherwise, I will allow to create it from here. But I want to make sure that once I'm doing the merge to production, that this will be the tag that will be created on Zapp. This is the reason why I did it this way.
Ran, so maybe we should set some guidelines so we can make, we won't interrupt each other, because I can see lots of scenarios where I can, I will start a new debug version and then I won't be able to use it. If, for example, Elad is, he did his own the debug version, and he released a release version, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And now my debug version is still open, and I want to release a release version for mine. I will lose some of the things that Elad did if I don't consider his work.
First, when you work in general, you need to always rebase your work in branch. Not talking about that, talking about the regular development process. If you are now working on a branch, you should make sure that before you are doing anything that is related to releasing, that you rebase the development branch to you.
But rebase is something in Git, not in Zapp.
I'm explaining the best practices, and I will explain you why if it's in your mind you understand that it's supposed to be the same way on Zapp.
Okay.
You need to make sure that you are always it's like kind of a race, right? Let's say that I'm working on something, you're working on something. The first one that will that will merge his code to development might affect the other one's code, right?
Okay.
Or so I need to make sure that I'm having his code. This is first general explanation of what I do. And the same practice should be applied on Zapp as well. You need to make sure before you deploy, you should go to the Zapp system and look what are the in development branch that you have. Okay? And if you need to create a new version that is under development that will include Elad changes, you will create a new SDK. Let's say that Elad is doing jelly jump test, okay? And now, boom, he deployed, okay? And he deleted the jelly jump test. He called it 2.9, okay? גיל. גיל, אתה פה? איבדנו אותו?
אני שומע.
Okay. So, let's say that Elad used this one and this one is deleted. Now it's called 2.9. Now you will go inside inside the system, and you will see that you need to go inside the system and see that you don't have anything that you will see that you don't have your development branch. So just go to create a new SDK, give it a title, create a new SDK based on your latest, which will be the one that Elad pushed, and then deploy your code.
You can update based on version.
What?
You can update after you created a new SDK version. You can update the version that it's based on it.
You don't need it, because what you do is you use this one and you connect it to it.
Now, Jelly, if we created 2.9 like you say.
One second. Okay.
Ran, I still don't understand. You want me to to
I want you
base.
to coordinate. I want you to coordinate. I have no solution to coordinate. I have no solution to coordinate. There are two developers. They need to know what you're touching the same code base. You need to talk. This
I'm
is
not
the
talking
best
about
answer.
talking about Zapp, not the repository on Git.
Zapp,
Okay.
Zapp. Go to Elad. Ask him, Elad, did you add new features to the exactly as you will ask him, Elad, what is this code change that you added? Okay. By the way, there is here. You can go here to the audit section. You see this flag on the right side?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you can choose your SDK audits, and you can go here to whatever action that you want to see on the SDK or all actions. You can choose your SDK, for example, 2.7.4. Ah, no, I'm on a staging bench. Doesn't matter. Let's go here.
Never mind.
No, it matters because this is the change log that Gil might be looking for without talking. Look, the best solution will be to talk, but if you want to make sure, go here to an SDK, choose all actions, choose your SDK version that you want to see what's happening there, and filter. Once you do that, you will see all the action that were done on this specific SDK. So you have it here, the log. So you can see if Elad added a new style, created a new key, deleted a new key, changed it, whatever.
So okay, so I will just have to redo everything in my debug version.
Why redo? You can base on your debug version on another version.
Already based on something else.
So create a new one. Create a new one.
But then I will lose what I've already done.
Lama?
Okay, so let's take for example Jelly Jam, okay?
Yeah.
Now I want to work on a new debug version,
Mhm.
which has nothing to do with Jelly Jam test. What should I do? Should I be based on this one or the release one?
This should be the latest dev code, right? The question is simple. You want to do hotfix or you want to continue with your development?
Continue.
So you should use the latest.
Okay, so now this version, the Jelly Jam, is not done yet. And I'm working on mine, and whoever did Jelly Jam still works on his. Okay?
Yeah.
And he's done. He's releasing. And now I want to release. But my version does not include the changes he did after I branch out of his version.
I'm missing something. Why does not include? Imagine that instead of Jelly Jam, it would be said 3.0. It means that your code that you're using, the only thing that it matters that it changed the name from Jelly Jam test to 3.0. It's the same thing.
Guys.
One question. If I am based on Jelly Jam test and someone changes something in this Jelly Jam test, will I be affected?
If you are based on Jelly Jam test, yeah.
Even if it's done after I'm creating my version?
If it's after you created your version, that it's not in development, the version is locked. Nothing will change you. Nothing.
No, I'm talking about development.
If you're talking about if for example you had another SDK version that is using this and is no, you will not be affected. If someone is changing this, it will not affect the other one.
So the things that I won't be affected by are the things that will get lost.
No, it shouldn't get lost because you create here a new version. Make sure if it's under development, make sure that you're always using the latest. So if Elad, for example, Elad released this one, okay, and he called it 3.0. Okay, now you understand that you cannot use this anymore because it's locked and you still need to continue working, right? And you want what he did. Okay, so create a new version, create a new SDK version that it says the next release.
And yeah, but then it needs to add again all the changes that he made.
Why? He made 1 second. He made changes, right? You made changes. So based on this, he made changes on this one. So take it, he will get these changes once he will create a new version based on this one.
But Rega, there's something that I want to point out. Right now, for example, Jelly Jam test was something that we did with Merav, and we used not the latest 2.7.4, but 2.6, because that was what we were using for Jelly Jam. So now it becomes, unless we understand which SDK version is actually the latest, you might be taking an SDK that is not the latest. Like with iOS, it seems pretty straightforward. There's something called 3.1.0 in development, and we all understand that that's the latest code. But when we're going to have a version that has a title that is only Jelly Jam Test, but has no mention of the SDK, you don't really know that this is the SDK that you should be using. And unless you go into the info...
I disagree completely. Exactly as in iOS. This is your latest stable version, 2.7, 2.4. Everything that you release should be based on this one if you want something stable.
But is 2.7.4 already a locked SDK? Because there were things that we wanted to add and we couldn't add, so that's why we created Jelly Jam Test. But Jelly Jam Test is based on a previous SDK.
So what is the question?
So, okay, Jelly Jam Test, right now, you would assume that this is the latest.
I don't assume anything.
Because it's in development, it could be misleading that it is the latest. That's my point.
Talk, people. You need to talk between yourself. You need to talk. You have mouth. You need to talk.
Why not make it like the iOS one, 2.7.5 in development?
No, because this is wrong flow. You don't know what is 2.7.1 because tomorrow Elad is putting something that is breaking change and it cannot be 2.7, 2.1. When I start development, I don't know what is my scope. I don't know what is the next version and I don't care. I don't care. Once I want to deploy, I look at my changelog, or I look at the pull request that I did and I see, okay, I broke something. So it could not be 3.1.0. It should be 4.
Yeah, but then what's going to happen, for example, right now, Jelly Jam Test. It's based on, if you go into the info button on the right side, you can see that it's based on 2.6. Okay?
Why?
Merge it.
Why?
I don't know. That's why we put it 2.6 because we don't know which version.
You should always use the latest code. This is the essence of continuous deployment. Unless you have hotfix.
But it's okay. We're talking about an app that is a baby app, and it has a complexity that maybe in 2.7.4 it doesn't work. With 2.6 it was working.
Did you check that it doesn't work in 2.7?
I'm just coming up with a scenario.
So if someone broke the code between 2.7 to 2.6, it should be marked as 3. And then the developer that is knows that if he takes something that is 3, it might break. But we work in a flow that should use always the latest code. Otherwise, there is no sense of the system.
Ran, but let's say, for example, I'm working on, let's say, the latest version when I created the Jelly Jam test was 2.6, okay?
Yeah.
And I took from there. And it took me a while to build this version. And while doing so, there was a new release, and then after that, hotfix, and now we got into a point that there is 2.7.4. How can I upgrade my Jelly Jam test to the latest? Can I do it?
Why you need to upgrade yourself?
I don't know, to get all the features. Let's say you added
what you need to do. First, good point. I'm not sure that it's needed. I'm not sure that I want to add it, but I will explain what you should do.
Okay.
2.7, 2.4 should be somewhere in the history the 2.6. Okay?
Yeah, somewhere in the history, yeah.
So you don't lose your changes of when using 2.7.4, you don't lose your changes that you've done that were done in 2.6. So what you need to do, you need to create a new in development version that is based on 2 point whatever, or yeah, that is based on the latest, on your latest. We can think about option to import values from one version after.
No, I think it's a valid point. So actually, it answers Geraldine question. So if you have a problem, just create a new version. Create a new version and delete this one.
But you need to add only
That's the point.
within the version. To
What?
The keys.
The keys need to be added again.
Why, guys? Why you should always take the latest? So let's say that
No, the keys that you changed in your specific version, it wasn't in the development. You did some changes in the keys. In the Jelly Jam, you added new key.
You added new jelly.
yeah, but someone needed to base the 2.6.1 on the next release. As I explained, this is the next release, okay? So in the history, someone that created 2.6 point whatever should base his SDK on this Jelly Jam test. So your keys are there. Anyway, if it's needed, I will consider of adding a feature that will allow you to import keys between the.
I think it will be best if you can upgrade the based on version.
Okay.
And if you now want to the Jelly Gym will based on 2.7.4 to update it.
The question is, if I'm updating, is what happens to my new keys?
Yeah.
Are they deleted? Are they not?
That's the point. That's why it's a little bit problematic when we're adding the keys to one version, then merging that, or I don't know what to call it, and then I don't have them in my newest SDK, also because this SDK was added maybe before I created my debug.
Again, I'm asking you people to coordinate. When you work on a new version, try to coordinate that everybody will be on the same page. As you do with GitHub, I did not build here a GitHub system that will allow you to create million branches. It's not. I cannot do that. But try to make sure that you coordinate and you always use the latest. When you build a new version, a new modular version, a new SDK, based it on the latest. That's the whole essence of having a continuous deployment system. Try to do that. Try to use the latest. I'm writing myself down to check how we migrate keys from one place to another. Two things. First, I will probably do that. But first, we can try to avoid this scenario. And the second thing is always build. I just don't understand. Here there is a wrong flow. To build a new version that is based on something really old, I don't understand. I completely don't understand it. You lose. It's exactly like generating a manual version. You lose bug fixes. You lose new features. You lose everything.
Okay, I agree that there needs to be more collaboration, or not collaboration, more coordination between developers, but sometimes this happens. There's a gap. Nobody knows why there's all of a sudden a newer SDK. Nobody knows what it contains. Nobody knows which one they should
actually
use. But now you know what it contains.
There is not this situation anymore because all versions are locked. This is why he created the lock. There is a change log. If there is a latest version, it should be the one, the go-to version to it should be fully tested with everything. You should take that one.
Okay.
You have it locked. You have a change log. If you press on it, you have a change log. You can see what was added. Okay, you can see if it might break stuff. You can go all the way to the past. Okay.
And also, who did it? You can see who did it.
It was a Zapp info.
you click on the version number.
SDK version. Now, if you use the same Android, it will lead you to the same place. Okay? It's a change log. If you will press on TV, it doesn't have currently anything. But once they will deploy the next version, it will happen. So we're trying to enforce most of the things. I cannot build GitHub system. I cannot solve conversation stuff. I do listen to your asking to migrating keys. I need to think about it because it has a lot of pitfalls. So I need to understand what I'm doing. For example, if one version added key, the other version deleted. So you have some kind of not enforcement, but logs. You can look at the SDK here under the audits section, and you can see what happened to your SDK or to another SDK or whatever, or to an app or whatever. Use this tool. We now have notification when a new SDK was created in Slack. So be aware. Guys, if you didn't start working on with it, start working with it. Once, I'm sure you will have some rejects, and I'm sure you will have some issues that I didn't think about, because for sure I didn't think about everything. But try to follow a process that we know what each version contains, that we are always using the latest. You should always use the latest. There is no reason not to use the latest, because the latest includes everything. This is the first part. If you have any question about the system, please ask, because I want to talk 5 minutes more about something that is something else, and I want to release you because I'm also you guys also need to work, and I also, it's long time that we're sitting. So please ask more questions that you want, like 1-2 question. And of course you can ask me all the questions that you want. You can ask me all the changes that you need. Use it, and I'm sure that you will have some issues. Use it, use the system, and then come and tell me, okay, I think we need to do this and that. I think that it will improve our, I don't know, productivity, flow, whatever. Questions? I will send links to everything now, to the tools and whatever, and explanation. And if you need to ask me personally stuff, Anton wanted to ask me after, so we will talk after. If you have any 1-2 question now, let's talk. If not, I want to say 10 minutes, something that is less related. It's related, but something else. Cool. So I see no one is asking questions. I want to talk about our working flow in terms of pull requests and code reviews and automatic testing. I will say 5 minutes and I will finish. I sent you guys, I think in the Android team, link that are 10 tips for better pull requests, which is a good, I think that it's a good blog post. I will publish it, I don't know. Again, it's there in the Android channel. I will publish it again. But I want to talk about it. Look, we improved a lot in terms of we are now doing code reviews, okay, in the last year or something. So it's not like in the past that we don't have anyone that is like double checking us, which is very, very good. But the big problem is the way we write our pull requests, and I will explain. It will be good. I will send it now in the channel. Read it. It's it's a good blog post about how to write a pull request. When you write,
Send it to global.
Send it also to others.
I don't know which group to use. There are so many channels. I don't
Hacking, freestyle hacking.
Freestyle hacking. Okay. Okay, so it's not like it's an opinion of a person with some kind of experience. I think I liked what you wrote there. Read it. It's nice. The important part of a pull request is that first, when you publish a pull request, try to think about the person that is going to review it. and try to think about what happened if you were receiving this pull request. And try to understand what will happen if you are choosing to use this pull request to review. And the fact that you will consider that another person or yourself will read this pull request will change a lot in the way that you will publish your pull request. I think a very good example is the way that it's been done in the Prime team. If you will take a look a little bit in their pull requests and what it is. So generally speaking, a pull request, of course, the main, like the goal when you publish a pull request, you need to make it the other person, the reviewer, able to check it. And it will affect a lot in the length of your pull request, in the way that you explain what is this pull request, and the way you write the things. So this is the main thing that you need to think about. If I'm receiving now a pull request of 90 files with no explanation, only me tagged in this pull request, and not only me, I'm sure no one of you would like to review it. And if you will review it, for sure you will miss tons of things because it's impossible to be concentrated. So try to make the pull request as small as possible for it to be easy to review, for it to be easy to give feedback, for it to be easy to deploy fast.
The pull request description is in the changelog, no?
The pull request description, no, it's not in the changelog. The commit after you merge is in the changelog. When I'm creating a new pull request, for example, I show you a pull request that I created because I'm trying a little bit to follow my rules. I'm not always succeeding, but for example, I show you some kind of a pull request. I will suggest you to look in the pull request of a Prime team because they do a very good job. So for example, if I will go to my pull request, okay, so there should be some kind of explanation of what the pull request is. If you do some UI changes, try to add some screenshots because it's easier to understand. And the most important part, this is big. Try to create as small as possible pull request, as small as possible. I will take you some 10 other million pull request examples that is has like, I don't know, 100 files. And it's impossible to test, to review. It's impossible. It's impossible, and for sure, if you write 100 code, something will be missing. For sure, if you're using 100 files in the same time, for sure you will change. You will do some mistakes. A pull request should be consisted of the general idea of the feature that you want to do, and try to make it as small as possible. That's the main guideline. Read the blog post that I sent you. It's very good. It's very important. This is the first thing. The second thing that I'm trying to enforce, and I want you guys to also enforce when you are reviewing, pull request without a test will not be merged. Please, without automatic test, please follow this guideline. If you're changing now an XML and you decide not to do a UI test, okay, I can understand. But if you are doing a change of the code, add unit test. If you open a class, add unit test. Please do that. It will prevent any regression of your code. And you will see that if you need to write tests, it will make your code better because a code that is not a code that you want to test need to be testable, need to be written in a specific way that it's easy to test. Please, I beg you to do that. A pull request that is without test should not be merged. The reviewer should write down add test.
What about hotfixes?
What?
Also hotfixes?
לא שומע.
We are also talking about hotfixes?
We're talking about each line of code that is inside that is you added should be tested.
So if we are serious about these tests, and we are, I guess we should talk about coverage. Because if I'm writing you 3 or 4 tests and you don't know the scope of or the coverage of these tests, I mean, we need a test to cover all the scenarios, all the situations. So just saying to our programmers, write test is fine, but we need to actually give tools for the programmers to be able to cover all of their scope.
I disagree. You're a developer, right? You have some kind of a definition of the feature that you're adding, right?
No.
Write the tests. I don't understand why you need someone to tell you what to test. For example, let's say that you write
something you just saying. There are actually people who study how to do full coverage. I don't know if all the developers, including myself, know how to really know how to make a full coverage. אחרי היה לנו איזה קורס באוניברסיטה שלם, רק על איך לכסות בטסטים את כל הסקופ שעשית. זה לא איזה משהו טריוויאלי שאנחנו מדברים, we are assuming that is very very easy, just write a test, write the 10 tests that needed, thinking that you're covering everything, but people might miss something, and the methodology is how not to miss stuff. So I know I'm a bit difficult about it, but this is an important issue that you touched, so I want to follow.
Can I answer? Can I answer?
Yeah.
Let's start. Let's start with Unity.
אנטון הלך, אז אפשר לדבר בעברית.
אנטון פה.
I'm here.
Anton is here.
Anton, go.
Okay, so let's not jump from the first floor to the 100th floor, okay? Let's start from unit testing. When you write a method, okay, when you write a method that says print string, okay, test that it prints the string. You don't need anyone to tell you what you need to cover. You have a method. I'm not talking about integration test yet. Once we will be in integration test, I will kiss you. Let's start with unit testing. If you have a button, okay, that needs to initiate a method, okay, and the method is show toast of X, make sure that the method returns toast of X. I don't think that you need anyone to write you any test coverage.
No, for these small things, no. But you know, I'm not talking about the small things. I'm talking about.
Are you doing the small things?
I'm doing everything. When I have small things, I do small things. When I have big things.
Are you creating a unit test for every method that you write?
Just started.
What?
Up until now, I didn't. Up until 2 weeks ago, I didn't.
Perfect. So let's start with that. For unit test, you don't need anyone to explain you anything. You just need to write the unit test. Once we will have a good coverage of unit tests, let's start talking about integration tests that are UI testing. And if you want to do the UI testing, perfect. At least add something that if today your method is printing a string and tomorrow someone will go to your method and will change it that instead of printing a string, it will print 2 strings or a list of strings, you will know that there was a regression. He will know that he broke something. Start with that. Let's start with that. Easy, simple, write unit tests. You don't need anyone to define you anything. Generally speaking in the world, not related to testing, if you will wait that someone will do something for you, I think it's a wrong conception of... take the tools that you have in your hands and do it. Even if you're not... One second, let me finish. Even if you're not covering 100% of the scenarios and you cover 50% of the scenarios, 50% is covered. Good. Better than 0.
Yeah.
Simple.
I agree on that. It's not like I'm not agreeing on doing.
No, I know that you agree, but we can always, guys, we can always find excuses of why not doing automatic tests. We always will find excuses, but I'm telling you that it has so many good side effects a part of the prevention of regression. It changes the way that you write the code. Because if you write code that is not good, you will see that you will struggle to write a test for it. Now the mobile testing frameworks are good. 1 year ago, it wasn't the situation. Today, it's good. I ask you to talk to Sergey, to talk to Simon, people that added new feature that was not 100% covered by test. We're not there. I'm not saying to 100%. I wish we were. But at least the general things are covered by unit tests, that if something will break in the specific method, we will know. Try to do that. I know that there are also recording tools in Android. It's on beta, and iOS. I think it's also on beta. But you also have recording tools that will help you generate UI integration testing. Perfect, do it. But start with unit tests. Start with that. At least the minimum. A feature should not be merged if it's not tested. Please tell it. Listen, the excuse that I don't have time, I tell you why I don't accept it, because I don't think that if you will tell the product owner or the account manager or the territory manager, listen, I want to do test for this kind of feature, I don't think that he will tell you no. I don't believe. And if he say it, he's mistaken, and try to explain why he's mistaken. Because people, we are paying for the bugs every day. You think that you deliver faster, but you're paying for bugs 10 times. And like, I hate to be the preacher, but please try to cover your code. If you open a class, even if you open one feature, add the unit test to your code. If you see that you need to add more, because it will help add more, even if it takes you more time. I'm telling you that in the beginning it might take longer. You will see that it will be part of the flow and it will be faster with the time. But do it. Otherwise, there is zero trust in the product. One QA person cannot manually test everything. There are 10 million developers that every day fix 10 million bugs and adding 10 million features. How do you expect that something will not break? It's impossible. It's impossible. Please do it. It's impossible without testing to prevent regression. With testing could also have regression, but you minimize the possibility. You minimize it. Please don't, as a reviewer, don't approve any pull request without testing. As a reviewer, reject pull requests that are not small enough, that are not understandable enough. And when you're on the other side of the pull request writer, make sure that you write something that you would like to review. That's all. Very simple, very basic. No one will tell you no. And it will a part of the fact that it will improve the product, a part of the fact that it will improve the code, it will improve the product, and we will gain trust. Now I'm telling you that there is zero trust in the code that we are writing. Zero trust in the modular app. No one knows if he uses the version 2.5 tomorrow. They have no trust that nothing was broken. And we need to gain this trust. It's our profession. Our profession is to deliver something perfect. That's all. It's very simple, so do that. That's it. I stop with the preaching. If you have any question, don't wait for sessions. Talk to me directly. Don't wait for this kind of sessions for me to explain you. Use the tool that I added. If something is not working, it might not work, tell me. If you have any other problems with the tool, tell me. If you have any other problem with Zapp, tell me. If you have any other problems with the process, tell me. Don't wait for me to create it. And please enforce the pull request guides. תודה רבה לכולם.
Thank you. Ram, want to speak?